Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is ThandiwekaYah, and as usual I have a prophetic word to share with you. Before I get into the word though, please remember that not every prophetic word is meant for you. Take it before the Lord if you believe it's meant for you, and ask Him to clarify, ask Him to fill in any gaps, to answer your questions. Like I often say in my videos, we only prophesy in part and we only know in part. So the Lord wants you to have a relationship with Him so that you can get the answers to the questions that you may have. I can't fill in those gaps. I can't answer those questions. So without much more delay, let's jump into the word. This is based on a dream that I had on the 24th of April 2020, and I'm going to start off by reading a scripture. Proverbs 10 verse 23 to 25. A fool finds pleasure in wicked schemes, but a person of understanding delights in wisdom. What the wicked dread will overtake them. What the righteous desire will be granted. When the storm has swept by, the wicked are gone, but the righteous stand firm forever. So friends, this word is speaking to the Lord's righteous. He's talking to those of you who have journeyed with Him, who have been through the wilderness, who have given your lives to the Lord. You've surrendered to God, and you've chosen Jesus, and you've stayed in your training, in your time of being matured. You've been through the fire, you've been tried and tested, and you've shown good character. Out of everything that you've been through with the Lord, He has developed your character. He has made you into someone who is responsible, someone who can be trusted, someone who is considerate, someone who's caring, compassionate, someone who has the love of Jesus in their heart for people. He's really molded your character. And the Lord is saying that in this time that we're in, the last days of the world as we know it, He's saying that there are three types of people. In the one group, you have people who are lukewarm. They are Christian, but they're on the fence. They live their life in a way that is pleasing to man, that is desirable to man, but at the same time they also go to church every Sunday. They tick the boxes, of in terms of religion, in terms of what it looks like to be a good Christian. So they're half, they're lukewarm. And then you have people who are just corrupt, who basically spread corruption, who are inconsiderate, don't really care about others, only care about their own comfort and about themselves more than anything. And then there are people who are walking with the Lord, who have surrendered their lives and have chosen to walk with Jesus, who have chosen to be molded, to be shaped by the Lord. And God is speaking specifically to this group of people, but He's also showing that there are these other groups. And there are some things that are going to happen in this time, in the near future. And they're going to be drastic. They're going to be intense because everyone has made their choice, or at least people have made their choice in a sense. And because of the choice they've made, they're going to face the consequences or reap the rewards of what they have chosen. But the Lord is saying to you today, the ones who have chosen Him, who have surrendered their lives to Him, who have been through the wilderness with Him, He's saying to you today that, people will trust you. They will want you to be the one who leads. They will want you to be the one who's in control and who makes the decisions. Even though the responsibility may not be yours or it's not your place, they feel comfortable with you as opposed with the other people. So you will find yourself in situations where you're expected to take the lead, where you're expected to do certain things. But the Lord is saying, take that to Him every time. Don't always think that you are to take the lead and to run with things. There are times when He will expect that from you, and there are other times where you're going to be pulled in too many directions and it's not practical, and you need to be focused. And then the Lord also showed me that for the people that have been walking with him, been through the wilderness, he's saying that he wants you to start to speak, to share your testimony, because there are people who are ready and willing to listen and hear you. It's so important because this is how we overcome evil, by the blood of the Lamb and through the word of our testimony, right? So the Lord wants us to begin to speak about our experiences, to begin to speak about how he has led us out of Egypt into the wilderness, through that time in our lives to where we are now. The Lord wants you to speak and be vocal about that, to share that with people, because that will help people. It's a testimony of the Lord's goodness. It's a testimony of what the Lord wants to do for others, and they need to hear this so that they can they have an opportunity to make the right choice. So he's saying, he's calling you to be vocal about where you've been and how the Lord has led you. In the dream, I remember speaking to someone, and I was sharing with them how I was, on this path, but I couldn't always see the path because there was this cloud, and this cloud was a beautiful white cloud. I am sharing this with someone in the dream, and the Lord said to me that cloud is him. It was him. He was representing himself in the dream, showing how he was constantly there with me. And you'll be sharing this with people so that they know that the Lord is constantly there with them. He may not show them the full path, exactly where they're going, or he may not show them exactly what he's doing at every single point, or where the road leads to, rather, because he will reveal to you at each point what he's doing with you. But he may not reveal the entire road ahead, because then, we're not able to step out in faith, because then we know exactly what's going to happen. So the Lord was saying that's what we're going to have to share with people, how the Lord led us as a cloud that led us down a path that we didn't always see what was happening up ahead, but we trusted. We knew that he was leading us in the right direction. And then the Lord showed me that in contrast to that, there are people, and this is something that he showed me in the form of a trailer, a movie trailer. So this is what is coming, and it's coming soon. That's what movie trailers say, right? So it's coming soon, where there are people that have not chosen to walk with him, that they have chosen their own path, and this path leads to destruction. It leads to death for many. In this trailer, it was like watching a trailer to a horror movie. It was this, funny enough, it was also a path that these people were going down, and one by one they were being killed off. That was the gist of the story or the trailer. And there was blood, there was a lot of blood, and the Lord was saying that this path leads to death and destruction, and many have chosen this. And he's saying that you, by your testimony, can help others who have started on this kind of journey, who have chosen to go on a journey that doesn't include him. You can help them by sharing your testimony in whatever form the Lord wants you to share it. So then the Lord showed me in even more detail how okay, I'll get to that part. Sorry, I'm just trying to think what to share first. But let's continue with the people that are going down the road of destruction. He showed me how a lot of these people are extremely immature. They are they think they know everything. They think they have an answer to everything. They are very arrogant, self-centered, spoiled in a way. They just think that they're on top of the world, and you're a sad case, and they're way better off than you. The Lord showed me how these people have sold their souls to the devil, in a sense. They don't realize that the life that they have chosen. So, yes, the key thing is that they want to live their life the way that they want to live it. They want to do whatever it is that they want to do. They want to enjoy and have pleasure all the time, and without regard for their spiritual lives and what the Lord is calling them to do, that without regard for anything but their own pleasure and their own happiness. So the Lord said that these people don't realize that they've signed their they've signed a contract with the devil. They've sold their souls to the devil. As they are, going on, every time they do stuff that is selfish about themselves, they're digging a deeper hole for themselves. There are people, there are clues around them in the form of people, in the form of situations that show them where they're headed, but they're not even taking note of this. As far as they're concerned, they are wiser than everyone else. They think they know better, and they have one up on everyone else. And the Lord is saying that they don't realize that there are clues, there are people, there are situations around them that are pointing towards where they're headed to. And He's saying that the time is coming very soon where the devil will cash in on his investment, because he's the one who's been endorsing their lifestyle. He's the one who's been backing them, and they may not realize that they signed their souls away to the devil, or sold their souls to the devil, but he's going to come and cash in on his investment. In the dream, I remember these people, as they were going on having a good time, all of a sudden their arms just kind of shot up to the ceiling, like in a magnetic force, like as if a magnetic force was pulling their arms up. And as that happened, the watches that they had on their wrists also were just pulled off by this magnetic force, and they went and like kind of stuck on the ceiling there. And then they began to cry out and say, God, they just started to call God and say, in a way of saying, why are you doing this? And they thinking it's God, but it actually isn't God. It's their God. It's the one that they sold their souls to. And He's saying, it's time. I need you to do what I need you to do now. I've given you your pleasure, your fun, and now you need to pay, basically. You need to pay your debt. So they are, it's such a sinister situation that they're in, unfortunately. And this is going to happen in this time as the world is changing. The Lord is saying that these people are going to find themselves in situations where they have to perform some despicable acts, where they have to do things that are really just abominable. They are undesirable. And the Lord wanted me to warn you that you need to be very watchful, especially over the things that He has entrusted you with. He's saying that there's a certain thing in your life, whether it is, part of your calling, your ministry, it could be a job, it could be anything. And He says it's that initial thing that He gave you as you entered your promised land, that the enemy is going to try and attack that. And he's going to do that by trying to distract you into thinking that something untoward is happening. Maybe I should put it in this way. The enemy knows how to push our buttons, and the Lord has taught us this, and He's shown us how the enemy operates in our lives and how we are to counter that. And for some of you, you may be paranoid about or you may have been paranoid in the past about certain things, and that might come back up as you notice things that the devil is trying to distract you with. So some of you may think that you're under witchcraft attack, and the Lord has said to you that you will not be touched by witchcraft anymore. But you may think that that's actually happening because of certain clues. This is just a smokescreen. The enemy is trying to distract you, because while you're distracted and being occupied with rebuking and just putting your energy into getting rid of this thing as quickly as possible, he is trying to corrupt that first thing that the Lord gave you. He's trying to corrupt your blessing. He's trying to mess it up, and he is going to try and use people who are in your life or who are trying to be in your life, who are just corrupt, just people who are corrupt, and they just perpetuate corruption. And the Lord is saying, watch out for that. Keep an eye on the things that He's given you, that He has entrusted you with. Even though this thing can run on its own to some extent, that you don't need to put your 100% energy into it as you would a newborn baby. So in this particular dream, it was my oldest son. So he doesn't need me to take care of him like a little baby. This is what the Lord explained to me as He gave me the interpretation. But he's still, my son, and he still needs my attention. He's not to be completely ignored. He still needs to be loved. He still needs to be nurtured. He still needs relationship, right? So the Lord is saying, as much as, he is able, as much as this thing is able to stand on its own, to care for itself, to do certain things, and you have it running in a certain way, it still needs your attention. You still need to make sure that you're covering it in prayer. You still need to make sure that you're watching over it, and you're keeping an eye, and that you are constantly you constantly know what's going on there, even though you have other projects, other things that he's opened up for you, other ministries, or whatever it is that he may have opened up for you. Make sure that you don't neglect that first thing, thinking that it's sorted, it's fine. So friends, there are dark times coming up ahead, specifically for people who have rejected the call of the Lord. But the Lord is also saying to you, testify of his goodness. There's a scripture that I wanted to read with regards to the wickedness of the people that haven't chosen him. He says, it's in Proverbs 4 verse 17, and it says, they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. And they don't realize this when they are, having a good time, and, they think they're on top of the world. They're running things, and they're making decisions that impact people, and they really don't care as long as, they're making money and they're benefiting from it. They don't really care. So the Lord is saying that this is them. They're eating the bread of wickedness and drinking the wine of violence, because they're going to have to partake in wickedness. They're going to have, they already are, but they're going to be pulled into situations as the enemy cashes in on his investment. They're going to have to perform certain things because they have signed up for this, and it only leads to death. It only leads to destruction. It leads to violating other people as well. So the Lord wants you to be cognizant of this, to be aware of this, to be in prayer about this, praying over people and sharing your testimony. It is by the word of your testimony that we overcome. And the Lord is saying people need to hear your story. People need to know how he operates. They need to see the love of God, and your story will show them that, and they will know to choose him. They will know to get off the fence and stop being lukewarm and choose him. They will know to stop being corrupt and choose him, and realize that this is the path to life, and it's about surrender. It's about giving their lives to the Lord. So friends, that is what the Lord has for us today. It's a very serious word, because people's lives are involved, and this being the time that the Lord is doing a new thing, completely just resetting the system in this world. There's going to be a lot of destruction. In order to build a new building, you need to take down the one that's currently there, and that means a demolition process needs to happen. And that's not a pretty process. It's ugly. It's just a whole lot of rubble, and that needs to happen. So the building needs to be brought down. All the rubble needs to be taken away, and then the new building is built from scratch. So that is what the Lord is saying, that we are in this time of the demolition happening, and rubble being removed. So that is where we are, and people need to take their stand. People need to be clear about where they stand, and it's up to us to help people in terms of sharing our testimony, so that they have a choice, and they know what the choice is, and what the right choice is to make, basically. And they will know that as long as we speak up, as long as we are here, whether you need to be on YouTube, if the Lord has been calling you to come onto YouTube, then you need to do that. If the Lord is calling you to be a speaker, you need to do that. If the Lord is calling you to, travel, to write, to write a book, to be a musician, whatever it is, the Lord keeps showing me how a lot of the things that have been deemed as unimportant, looked upon as not as important as other things, but specifically when we look at the area of creativity, of the creatives, the arts people. In my country, you are struggling if you are an artist, and the Lord is saying those are the foolish things of the world. And those are the things that the Lord will use to bring people to him. He's going to use those people's talents in that way. So there's really a call for people that have creative abilities, that are artists in any form, to really press into what the Lord wants them to do and how He wants them to move in this time. So friends, that's the word. I encourage you to pray over it, to ask the Lord what your part in this is, so that you can get going on what you need to do. This is the time to start doing things, friends. Technology allows us to get a lot more done, even while we're in lockdown. So I encourage you to get going with what the Lord has put on your heart. You need to take that step of faith and start sharing your testimony. Okay, friends, thank you so much for being here, for your support and your love. I'm truly blessed by it. And remember that you serve a wonderful, loving Father, and you are so deeply special to Him.